everyone, you're watching Weekly Forex Outlook by Light Forex. Watch this video to learn the profit opportunities of the upcoming days. We start with looking at the chart of the US dollar index. On the 4-hour chart, you can see that American currency declined last week. It happened as traders decreased demand for the USD in favor of the more riskier currencies like the Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, and the Canadian dollar. The biggest piece of news so far is the fact that Donald Trump delayed an increase in tariffs on Chinese goods, citing productive trade talks. In addition, he and Chinese president will hold a summit to seal a trade deal. For now, we do not know how far into the future the deadline for tariffs was moved. Trump didn't specify that. However, he pointed out that big news might appear during the next 1 or 2 weeks, so the announcement may take place anytime. However, this week we do not expect this announcement, as it will still take time and serious obstacles for the United States and China to reach a deal. In addition, the fact that the deadline was moved wasn't a big surprise for the market. Traders were more or less ready for that. So the potential for riskier currencies to continue strengthening is limited, and the potential for the USD's decline is limited because of that as well. Now, notice also that the USD remains in a good position versus other currencies, especially such currencies as the euro and the Japanese yen, as it still enjoys the yield advantage. And despite the fact that American Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, confirmed dovish shift in the minutes from January meeting, which was released last week, still other central banks are even more dovish than the Fed, and this is another factor which helps the USD to stay supported. Although we can see that there is a downtrend in the USD index since the start of February, and if it keeps on declining and breaking support levels, the decline may be more pronounced. In the upcoming days, there will be more news from the United States, and we may check this news and other news which will have an impact on the Forex market in the economic calendar at lightforex.com/trading/calendar. Let's see what awaits us in the upcoming days. And today, on Monday, there will be a speech of the Bank of England Governor Carney. It is, of course, important as he may say something about the impact on Brexit and the further direction of the UK monetary policy. On Tuesday, Britain will hold inflation report hearings, and it is important because it may offer hints about the further policy of the UK Central Bank. Also, America will release CB consumer confidence data, and the head of the US Central Bank, Jerome Powell, will testify in Senate. So he may make further comments about monetary policy, and this will be a big driver of the USD and the currency market in general. New Zealand will release trade balance early on Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, Canada will publish CPI figures, inflation data, and the head of the US Central Bank, Powell, will testify once again, but this time in the House of Representatives. On Thursday, there will be business confidence data from New Zealand. Australia will release private new capital expenditure data. This indicator is published only once in a quarter, and it usually makes a very big impact on the exchange rate of Australian dollar. You can see in the calendar that the forecast is positive, and it remains to be seen whether the reality confirms that or denies that but surely we will have an opportunity to trade the Australian currency on the news during the Asian session on Thursday. China will release manufacturing PMI, and Canada will publish current account data. Also, during the US session, there will be a release of American advanced GDP growth for the fourth quarter. The release was delayed by the partial government shutdown in the United States, which lasted for 35 days. And you can see that it is expected that American economic growth has lost its pace in the final quarter of 2018. We will see whether it is in line with forecasts or worse or maybe a bit better. Also, there will be the publication of Chicago PMI. Friday will be also an important day with the speech of the Fed's Chair Jerome Powell once again for the third time this week. Some manufacturing PMI in China also will get some British manufacturing PMI indicator as well, and a flash inflation figures from the euro area. You can see that the forecast is more or less positive here. And finally, there will be Canadian GDP, and during the US session, America will release ISM manufacturing PMI and some core inflation indicator, core PCE price index, which is the key inflation indicator for the Federal Reserve, so it will be important. Also notice that on Wednesday and Thursday, the US President Donald Trump will meet North Korean leader, and this may also make an impact on the market's risk sentiment. So, to make a conclusion, there will be several speeches from the head of the US Central Bank this week, important data from the United States on Thursday and Friday, and some information from Britain, Euro area, and Australia are the things we can focus on if we trade on the news. Let's now switch to other charts in the MetaTrader. And if we look at Euro USD currency pair, we will see that Euro is trading roughly at the same levels. There was a recovery which took place last week. However, the pair still closed the week before below the 200-week moving average at 1.1335. Now we are trading a bit low, a bit above this level, as the euro will try to retest the downtrend resistance line, which goes down from the highs of the start of 2018. Daily chart offers us more insight into price action. We see 3 candlesticks here which are black, bearish, and have small bodies. These candlesticks appeared after the sizable bullish candlestick, and this pattern is called rising free method, and is a continuation pattern which signals that the currency pair may test higher levels. So the natural level for us to look at on the upside in the short term is the level of 1.1380. If the euro gets able to overcome this resistance as well and rise above 1.1390, then the focus will be on the downtrend resistance in the area of 1.1450. The weakening of the USD may give the euro some fuel, although to break out from this long-term downtrend, some fundamental shifts in the European economy are surely necessary. Getting to the British pound, we can see that the currency made a big advance last week. All in all, if we need to describe the situation, the things which are happening in Britain, it's necessary to mention that Theresa May Prime Minister decided to put off a vote on Brexit deal until March 12, and some lawmakers accuse her of running out of time because we know that Brexit is scheduled on March 29th. May wants to get concessions from the European Union in order to get support from the parliament to pass the deal, and still all of these talks are looking rather complicated. And the Telegraph reports that May be considering whether to delay Brexit for 2 months. And well, Trump delayed the tariffs on China. Why not to delay the Brexit deal where the negotiations are even more complicated? So this is surely an option. The delay will prolong the uncertainty for the British pound and might cause the negative impact on the currency. So for now, there was some optimism that a solution, a compromise may be found. So the pound recovered above 1.30 level. However, as you can see here on the chart, the currency pair is approaching resistance located at 1.3155, where we have Fibonacci level, and also we have here the 50 week moving average, which recently went down below 100 week moving average, the negative intersection. The area will surely represent a heavy resistance level. So although upside is likely in the short term, the pair will be capped by the level, and we need to get above the recent highs in the area of 1.3215, the highs of the end of January, in order to get the opportunity to retest 50% Fibonacci level at 1.3385. Support will be located at 1.30 and 1.2925. The USD was trading on the upside versus the Japanese yen. However, you can see that the 100-week moving average located at 110.75 is capping the pair for the third week already, and there is further resistance around 111.30 and even further resistance at 111.75. We'll put it on the chart. So the fact that last week dollar yen managed to get higher, not so much, is surely not a positive sign for the American currency. On the daily chart, we can see that support is located at 110.30. The further support level is in the 110 area, and the next support, the trend line support, is near 109.25. So on the upside we have daily moving average, and the moving average is the 200-day moving average, which is a serious resistance, and 100 moving average is moving to the downside, probably wants to get below this level and form a negative intersection. So a lot of resistance for the USD here. The US dollar Canadian currency is a riskier currency, and despite some weaker economic figures from Canada, it managed to strengthen last week. Now we can see that the pair approached the support located at 1.3115, and the loss of this level will open the way to the downside towards levels like 1.2970. To recover significantly, the pair needs to return above 1.33 mark. Australian currency formed a kind of spinning top on the weekly chart last week. Although there was an improvement in risk sentiment and some improvement towards the Australian currency as Australia released better than expected employment figures. We can see that 0.72 level acted as resistance, and there was a big decline from that mark. So only above that level the pair will gain the chance to test 0.73 and probably get higher to 0.7460. Support continues to be at the same levels of 0.7090 and 0.7040. New Zealand's dollar was a bit more convincing last week, and we can see that it still can try to test this resistance line here located around 0.69, 0.6930. A break above this level is necessary to open the way to 0.70 and higher, while support levels are located at 0.6850 and 0.68. Gold made an attempt to test higher levels, and it managed to get as far as to 1346. However, the asset closed far from the high last week, forming a candlestick with a big upper shadow, and this creates some potential for the further downside correction. However, on the daily chart you can see that we are still within the upside channel, although MACD shows us that the recent highs are not confirmed by the indicator and positive momentum has obviously declined. The trend is still in place. The pair tried to recover from the support of Fibonacci level and the channel support around 1320, and as long as it stays above this level, the trend continues and the focus remains on 1350. Decline below 1320 will open the way down to 1300 level for gold. Brent indeed continued on the upside in line with the inverted head and shoulders pattern. We are now approaching a rather significant resistance at 68, and only above that level the fix will open the way up to the next resistance at 70.75. Stock market was also positive. It reached new highs and new resistance at 28.00 level, and here we need to see a break and a close above 28.20 to see that the S&P 500 gets power to rise to 28.80 mark. So this is all for today. You can see that markets are extremely lively and there are a lot of profit opportunities. So visit lightforex.com, download the trading software and open an account and start making money.